Welcome to the UNV certification program. The topic of this video is the IPC operation and maintenance. We will be talking about IPC functions like SIP, auto tracking, people counting, and events. Also, we will cover the contents of IPC storage introduction, security settings, IPC system maintenance, and its accessories. Now, let's start from the SIP setting. Now we are on the intelligent page of an IPC. From here, we can see there are 4 types of detection modes under Smart Intrusion Prevention: Crossline, Enter Area, Leave Area, and Intrusion. Focus on motor vehicles, non-motor vehicles, and pedestrians only. Crossline detects targets that cross a virtual line. Enter Area and Leave Area detect targets that enter or leave a specified area. And Intrusion aims at targets that enter the area or stay in the area for a certain period. We will take crossline detection as an example. First, we need to enable the function. Then, click the plus to add a detection rule. We can see the added line on the preview window. Adjust the position and orientation of the line if needed, and when the target crosses the line, the camera will be triggered. Up to 4 rules can be added, and each can be offered a different priority level here. The higher the level, the more priority the alarm will be triggered. In trigger direction, we could define it as a one-way mode or two-way mode. One-way mode triggers alarm either from B to A or from A to B. And two-way mode triggers from both sides. Then, drag the slider to adjust the alarm sensitivity. The higher, the easier will the camera gets triggered. Next, we can choose the object type and object size. Only the chosen object within the size range can be detected and triggers the actions while crossing the lines. And the maximum width or height must be greater than the minimum width or height. Click Save after finishing the configurations. To get notified in time when an alarm occurs, setting up trigger actions is advisable. We can choose to send snapshots to a specified email address, or upload the image to NVR when an alarm is triggered, as well as choose different alarm sounds here. What's more, we can choose to store the alarm recordings and images on an SD card or store the video on FTP server when an alarm is triggered. If the IPC is the PTZ camera, we can enable the trigger tracking as well. When the target has been detected, it will track the target automatically. Click Save after finishing configurations. In addition, the arming schedule is 24 hours on, by default. If you want actions to be triggered in a certain period, you can set up a schedule here. Then the camera will detect targets during this period only. Click Edit, we can set the start and end times during which the crossline detection alarm is effective. Also, we can directly drag the mouse to draw a plan. We can select from Monday to Sunday and maximum set 4 periods for each day. Then let's move on to the Live View panel. With this icon enabled, we can monitor the targets in real time. All the captured snapshots of the targets will be shown here. Here we are going to talk about the auto tracking setting. This is the auto tracking panel. We can set the rules and the arming schedule here. First, there are 3 types of objects to choose from: motor vehicle, non-motor vehicle, and pedestrian. If we choose pedestrian as the tracking object, it means the camera will track pedestrians only. And we can also filter a certain object type. Next, we can set the maximum size and minimum size here, then only objects within the size range will be targeted. What's more, click Tracking, then we can configure the advanced settings, including tracking timeout and zoom ratio. When Continuously Track is enabled, the camera will keep following the target till it is out of view. We can also set up a tracking timeout here. The default value of the timeout is 30 seconds, we can reset the value from 1 to 300. In the scenario where there are different targets in the view, the camera will stop tracking the first target it detected after the timeout we set, then track another target. 2 zoom options are provided below. Auto is recommended here as it enables the camera to zoom in or zoom out according to the distance between the camera and the target automatically. In this way, details of the target will be captured. And the other is to remain the current zoom ratio. Now let's double-click the preview window to see how auto tracking works. Here we can see a target entering the frame. And the camera then focuses on the target automatically. In addition, the arming schedule is 24 hours on, by default. To specify certain periods for auto tracking, you can set up a schedule here. The quickest way to set up a plan is to draw the schedule in the chart below. Click on Armed and clear the armed schedule, then make a new schedule. You can also go to Edit and enter the specific time to make a schedule. Save the settings you made. Then the camera will detect and track targets during this period only. Next up is the people counting function. Now we are on the intelligent page of an IPC. We can see people flow counting and crowd density monitoring function under people counting category. People flow counting counts the number of people that pass through a certain gate or entrance. And crowd density monitoring, as the name suggests, can do a great favor for personnel flow restriction and queue management. First, let's take a look at people flow counting function. Here we have a rule automatically on the preview window, and we can drag it to change the position. Or define the entering direction as A to B or B to A on the right. Also, if the IPC is connected with an NVR, we can customize the data report interval from 1 to 60, determining data synchronizing frequency with NVR. Below are two ways of resetting the counting data. One is to set a fixed time to clear the counting data automatically by enabling Reset Counter and specifying the time. The other is we click on Clear to manually clear up the counting data. Next is the counting type. Here we have 3 counting types to select: people entered, people exited, or both. Now let's move on to people present alarm, which is used to set the number of people. There will be an alarm when the people present are more than this number. Take it here, we can set different values for minor alarm, major alarm, and critical alarm. The value for minor alarm should be between 1 and 180. From bottom to top, the value of each alarm level you set shall be greater than the upper one while less than 180. Now double-click the preview window. Let's see how people flow counting works. Here we can see 3 people passed the line, and the number of exit turns to 3. While passing the line in the other direction, the number of entry changed. After enabling the alarm, trigger actions can be preset accordingly. Click the icon to customize the alarm audio and repeat time for each alarm level, and click OK after configurations. In addition, the arming schedule is 24 hours on, by default. To specify certain periods for people counting, you can set up a schedule here. The quickest way to set up a plan is to draw the schedule in the chart below. Click on Armed and clear the armed schedule, then make a new schedule. You can also go to Edit and enter the specific time to make a schedule. Save the settings you made. Then the camera will detect targets during this period only. Now let's move on to crowd density monitoring. Interface of crowd density monitoring is simpler. We can configure report interval and crowd density alarm here. The report interval is between 1 to 60. And the default values of minor, major, and critical alarm are 20, 24, and 30 separately. The corresponding triggered actions and arming schedule can be configured here as well. We can customize them as needed. To view the real-time counting data on the live view screen, we need to configure the OSD of people counting. Click Image. OSD can be found here. Choose people counting under the Overlay OSD content, then tick it to enable the OSD. The real-time counting number will be displayed here. Now, Let's have a look at the common alarms in different events. Motion detection detects moving objects in a specified area during a certain period. Under rule settings are two detection modes, grid and area. The camera is on grid mode with the whole area as the detection zone by default. Grid mode also allows you to draw irregular detection areas. Clear the grids of the whole view and draw the areas. To delete any of the areas, you can redraw them, then the grids will be cleared. The area mode allows you to specify up to 4 detection areas. Click the Add button and drag your mouse to set a detection area in the window. The drawn box can also be dragged to an intended position. By moving the slider, we can set detection sensitivity as well as the object size. It is easier to detect a moving target with higher sensitivity. When the extent of motion within the detection area exceeds the set object size, the camera reports an alarm. Real-time detection results will be displayed in the chart below. The red lines represent motion detection alarms. The longer a line, the greater the extent of motion, the denser the lines, the greater the frequency of motion. Alarm parameters can also be set here. If we enter 15 in suppress alarm, the same alarm will not be reported within 15 seconds after an alarm is triggered. Trigger actions enable you to get notified by email message and alarm sound when an alarm occurs. For example, you can enable send email. Once the camera has been triggered, you will get an email notification. The options under storage mean that the recording and image and video will be saved to the microSD card inside the camera and the FTP server that is configured with the camera respectively. Now we go to plan. The motion detection is all day on by default. To specify certain periods for motion detection, you can make a schedule here. The quickest way to set up a plan is to draw the schedule in the chart below. Click on Armed and clear the armed schedule, then make a new schedule. You can also go to Edit and enter the specific time to make a schedule. Save the settings you made. Then the camera reports alarms during the specified period we set only. Now let's move on to tampering alarm. With tampering alarm enabled, the camera reports an alarm when the lens is blocked for a certain length of time. You can set the sensitivity and the blocked duration below. When sensitivity is set to the highest, the camera can detect blocking from a farther location. Configure some trigger actions and make a plan for tampering alarm if needed. Next is audio detection. This function means the camera can detect input audio signals for exceptions, then reports an alarm and triggers the set actions. There are 4 detection types here, each can be configured with a difference or threshold value. When the rise or fall or change of volume exceeds the set limit, or when the input volume reaches the threshold, the camera reports an alarm and triggers the set actions. Set up trigger actions and plan if needed. Audio detection requires the camera to be connected to an audio input device correctly. Then turn on audio input on the alarm input page. Alarm input function enables the camera to receive alarm information from a third-party device. To use this function, you need to fill in the following information according to the type of the third-party alarm input device. Turn on alarm input and save the settings. Trigger actions and plan are also supported. After alarm output is triggered by an alarm, the camera can output alarm information to the third-party device if alarm output is set correctly. Configure the rule settings or make a schedule according to your own needs. Now, let's talk about the storage of IPC. Storage is to set up and manage the storage medium that stores the images and pictures. Under Storage option, there are two types of storage medium, memory card and NAS. To choose memory card, you need to install a microSD card inside the IPC, and it's advisable to format it here for the first time use. When memory card is chosen, snapshots and video data can be saved to the memory card directly. The storage medium status and the total and free capacity are displayed below. When the NAS server has been connected, we can switch the medium to NAS and make some settings accordingly. Here allows you to allocate capacity for video and snapshot. When some space has been allocated for video storage, the remaining capacity can be used for image storage. All these pictures stored can be checked under Photo. Then we set video storage info. If manual and alarm recording is turned on, the microSD card will keep recording for 24 hours, including the triggered alarm recordings. Scheduled and alarm recording enables you to set a schedule during which the camera records video and alarm recordings to the memory card during the specified periods. The first two storage policies allow you to select mainstream or substream for the recordings. When alarm recording only is chosen, only alarm-triggered recordings will be stored. When the SD card gets full, we can overwrite the oldest data with the new one. Or we can set it to stop recording. For alarm-triggered recording, post-record is the length of time recording continues, after the end of the alarm. Let's move on to FTP section. To save images and videos to the FTP server, you need to configure it on this page first. Input the server's IP address, port number, username and password. Run a test to confirm the successful connection between IPC and FTP server. Enable upload images and upload videos. You can also enable overwrite storage if needed. Below you can set up file path and name for the saved photos and recordings. Let's take photo as an example. From here, we set up the file path where these images will be saved. Choose one from the list or custom one based on your needs. For example, if we choose IP address, date time, the photo will be saved according to this path. Click here to set file name. Several kinds of separators are provided here, and we set naming element. Then the photos will be named as the format you set. If needed, we can do the same for recording. Let's move on to the IPC security settings. First, user. There are two types of users in the system: admin and common user. Admin is the default administrator, which cannot be deleted. It has full permission and can manage all users and devices. Only one admin user is allowed in the system. Click Add, we can add common users. Enter a username and password. Then confirm the password. And select permission if needed. We can add the common user successfully. Next, select a user, we can modify or delete it. Second, network security. Here we can turn on or off the HTTPS, which is used for secure communication across the internet or a network. To enable the HTTPS, we need to import a custom certificate as required. And we can export the certificate here as well. Then, on the authentication panel, we can select the authentication types for both RTSP and HTTP. None means no authentication, while all the three other authentication types require the username and password while playing the live stream via RTSP. And two authentication types are supported for HTTP. What's more, we can also turn on the ARP protection to prevent the IPC from ARP attacks. Enter the MAC address, then click Save. Next, we can enable IP address filtering. Two filtering modes can be selected. Allow list is for allowing the specified IP addresses to access the IPC only. And deny access is for blocking the specified IP addresses. To add the IP address, click the plus, then enter the IP address. Click Save after Configurations. Then on the Access Policy panel, MAC authentication and illegal login lock can be turned on or off here. After enabling the illegal login lock, the IPC will be locked automatically after 5 attempts of login fail. Next, NetSockets can be turned on or off as well. Third, registration info. While adding the IPC to the NVR through ONVIF protocol, we can choose to hide vendor information if you don't want the user to see it. Finally, watermark is supported as well. Watermark function is used to check whether the video has been changed or not. Turn on the watermark and enter the watermark content. If the video hasn't been tampered with, we can see the watermark while detecting the video with Easy Player. Next part is about the IPC system maintenance. First of all, let's begin with software upgrade. Here we have two ways to upgrade IPC. To perform a local upgrade, click Browse, select the correct upgrade file, then Confirm to upgrade. Some devices support Boot Program Upgrade, which loads the operating system. When we enable it, the operating system of a new version can be booted properly, and the camera can be upgraded conveniently. If the system is connected to EasyCloud, we can perform a cloud upgrade. Click Detect to check for the new version. If the system is not running the latest firmware version, click to upgrade. It will take a while. We need to ensure that the power supply is normal during the upgrade. Under Configuration Management, we can restore, import or export the configuration settings of IPC. Two restoration levels are provided here. One is default, it will restore all the settings to default except network and user settings. This level is the most convenient to choose from, since it will keep our current network and password settings. The other is factory default, which restores all the settings to defaults. We can tick the box and then perform this operation. To import configurations that we have backed up, click Browse and select the configurations we want to import. The camera will restart when the configuration file is imported successfully. We can also export the configurations, and then import the file to other cameras of the same model that require the same configuration settings. Next is diagnosis information, which includes logs and system configurations. In this area, click Browse to set the folder location, and then export diagnosis information to our PC. By selecting Collect Image Debugging Info here, we can display the video with debugging information at the same time, which makes troubleshooting easier. We can also click here to restart the device directly. Now let's move on to Network Diagnosis page and see what can we get from this page. When we need some detailed information, we can export the current diagnosis info, so as to troubleshoot some connection issues that happen to our camera. Here we can select the NIC to adapt to the local area network. Then choose to specify or filter the IP address or network port. If we have no need for it, just select All for both of them. Or tick the box to make the custom rules. The following step is to start capture, and then stop capture after a certain period of time. We will get diagnosis files, which are really helpful in troubleshooting issues. The last topic is log. This page records every user-performed operation on this device. And it's also a very convenient and easy way to check if the operation is performed successfully. Select the period, main type, and click Query. It prompts us all the results according to the search. Click Export to save the logs. By analyzing logs, we can keep track of device operation status and view some detailed information. The last part is the IPC accessory introduction. In this and the following charts, a complete selection process is from left to right, including the IP camera's model on the left, the installation types with matched accessories in the middle, and the successful installation diagrams on the right. Let's look at the camera naming first. The first two numbers of camera naming indicate the product form and shape structure. If cameras are the same in these two values, they share the same kind of brackets. For the box cameras installed indoors, two types of brackets can be selected. One is WM06C, which is for wall mounting, and the other is for pendant mounting. The round plate on the top is for fixing the camera, and the other side attaches to the wall. The housing case is specially designed for box cameras that are installed outdoors, as it is good for isolating heat or cold. And some housing cases are even embedded with IR light, which enables the box cameras to deliver a white and black live image in the dark environment. WM06I can be used for wall mounting, while UV06A plus UP06 can get the camera installed in the pole vertically or horizontally. For the varifocal dome cameras installation, there are multiple ways to install them. The first one is to install it to the ceiling with a junction box. The waterproof joint is optional. It can be used for stuffing the whole of the junction box to block the dust and water when the camera cables come out from its side face. If the camera cable comes out from its bottom side, the waterproof joint will not be necessary. For wall mounting dome camera, there are two types of brackets. The only difference between them is that one has a junction box. Both of them support pole mounting, as the diagram shows. The in-ceiling mount bracket is typically used for the varifocal dome cameras. Cameras installed with this bracket hide their base and wires inside the ceiling, only the camera cap might be conceived. The next one is the electric box transfer plate. It is specially designed for North American areas and it adheres to the NEMA W06 standard. The ways to install the fixed focal dome and the turret cameras are similar to the varifocal dome camera we just mentioned. For outdoor installation of dome cameras, when we are going to wall mount cameras, we can select the junction box first and then get the matched sunshade shelf for installation. Now we can see some turret cameras and dome cameras. IPC361 series cameras have a different base size compared to other cameras, so the accessories, like junction box and brackets, also differ in size. For IPC373 series cameras, they have a junction box in the base, so they can directly go ceiling mounting or use bracket to wall mount. Besides, with the corner mounting or pole mounting adapters, they can be installed in the corner or on the pole. For indoor installation, the pendant mounting is also supported. If we are going to get cameras installed outside, note the waterproofing. Electric box transfer plate is used in North America and it adheres to the NEMA WD6 standard. Dome, turret, and some bullet cameras can be mounted on the wall or ceiling with it. Now let's have a look at the brackets for fisheye cameras. Fisheye camera can be mounted to the ceiling directly or with a junction box. It can also be pendant mounted. The following steps illustrate how to pendant mount the dome cameras or fisheye cameras indoors. Firstly, select the correct junction box, and then go for selecting the pole. The default pole height is 200 mm. We can get extra poles for lengthening up the pole if needed. SC24 and SC24A extension poles add 200 mm and 500 mm to the overall mounting length. They can even be put together jointly for additional length. Now let's move on to the bullet cameras bracket page. As we see, these bullet cameras displayed here have a supporting base, so it will be much easier to install them no matter whether we go with wall mounting or pole mounting. For the wall mounting, we only need a junction box for storing cable, and add the waterproof joint if needed. There are pole and corner mounting adapters available as well. Or you can also directly pole mount the camera without the junction box. For bullet cameras that have no supporting base, an extra bracket for mounting is needed. Here we find two types of brackets that allow the bullet cameras to be installed on the wall or mounted to the pole or ceiling. Next is mini bullet camera mounting. There are two types of junction boxes for mini bullet cameras. JB058 is for the mini bullet camera that has a square-shaped supporting base, which commonly has a fixed lens and does not support Light Hunter. The other is for mini bullet cameras whose supporting base is round-shaped, which generally have a fixed lens with Light Hunter supported. In addition, Easy Series IP cameras with a varifocal have a round-shaped supporting base as well. For bullet cameras with a junction box in the base, they could be wall or pendant mounted directly. Besides, with a pole or corner mounting adapter, pole or corner mounting is supported too. Next, we will continue with the positioning system mounting. Basically, the PTZ cameras are usually mounted on the wall or installed on the pole. Sometimes, pendant mount is also applicable. This page presents some brackets for commonly used PTZ cameras, including mini, 4-inch, and 6-inch PTZ cameras. The upper part is about pendant mounting. We can have various poles or adapters to realize the pendant mounting at different heights. Below are the accessories for wall mounting. Here are 3 types of brackets, and each has a different length. Attach a junction box to these 2 brackets to store the camera cables when the camera is installed on a pole or a corner of a wall outdoors. The swan neck bracket is the longest bracket and supports 360-degree rotation. It is used mostly when the camera is installed on the top of buildings. The same types of brackets and the installation methods can be applied to the dual-lens PTZ and 8-inch cameras as well. Compared to the outdoor PTZ camera, the indoor PTZ camera has this bracket for the in-ceiling mounting exclusively, which improves the concealment of the camera by hiding the camera's base inside the ceiling. If we are going to mount OmniView indoors, pendant mounting and wall mounting are all available. With a 2D bracket and a pole mounting adapter, the OmniView could be horizontally installed on the pole or mounted vertically on the wall with the wall mounting bracket and adapter. In addition, we have 2 customized brackets to wall or pole mount the OmniView and the PTZ camera so that they can work together on the same site. For the wall mounting bracket, the adjustable 2D plate on the top is to fix the OmniView, and the PTZ camera is installed below. The pole mounting bracket shall go through the pole horizontally with the OmniView installed on its top and the PTZ camera below. Now let's move on to the positioning system mounting. This bracket here is for wall mounting. It is made of steel to ensure the bracket is firm enough to hold the heavy weight of this device. Pedestal installation is the other method for mounting. No accessories are required if the positioning system is installed in this way. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.